It was a crisp autumn afternoon when I decided to venture into the woods, my curiosity overpowering my fear. The golden leaves crunched beneath my sneakers as I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest. The canopy of trees above cast dappled shadows, creating a flickering, almost hypnotic effect. As I wandered further, the forest seemed to change. The air grew colder, and the once welcoming sunlight dimmed to a faint glow. Unease settled in my chest, but I pressed on, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and curiosity. I lost track of time, and the forest swallowed me whole. The trees stood taller and closer together, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. It was as if the woods had a life of its own, a malevolent consciousness that toyed with my senses. That's when I stumbled upon it, a small clearing that seemed out of place in the oppressive darkness of the forest. In the center of the clearing stood a gnarled ancient oak tree, its bark twisted into grotesque contortions. My eyes were drawn to something hanging from one of its branches, a doll. The doll hung by a frayed rope, swaying gently in the breeze. It was unlike any doll I'd ever seen. Its porcelain face was cracked and discolored, its glassy eyes devoid of any warmth. The dress it wore was tattered and stained, as if it had weathered years of neglect. Strands of matted hair hung limply from its head. My unease deepened as I approached the doll. It seemed to emanate a malevolent energy, as if it were a harbinger of doom. I reached out to touch it, and a shiver ran down my spine as my fingers brushed against the cold porcelain. A sense of foreboding washed over me, and I suddenly felt the weight of the forest pressing down on me. I turned to leave, but the path that had led me to the clearing had vanished. Panic set in as I realized I was lost, trapped in this nightmarish wilderness. As I stumbled through the dark, twisted trees, the wind whispered in mocking tones as if the forest itself were taunting me. The hours passed in a blur, and exhaustion gnawed at my bones. Just when I thought I could go on no longer, I heard a voice, a faint, haunting melody that seemed to beckon me deeper into the woods. Following the voice, I came upon a small cabin, its windows shrouded in darkness. I pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air was thick with an acrid smell, and the flickering candlelight revealed a room filled with an array of grotesque objects. A collection of eerie dolls, all in various states of disrepair, stared at me with their lifeless eyes. In the corner of the room, I saw a small, tattered journal. I picked it up, and the pages revealed a horrifying truth. The cabin had once belonged to a man obsessed with the supernatural, a man who had believed that the dolls held the souls of lost children who had wandered into the forest. My heart sank as I read the journal entries about a girl who had gone missing in the woods years ago, her disappearance never solved. The last entry detailed how the man had hung the doll in the forest as a twisted tribute to the lost child. Terror gripped me as I realized the doll in the clearing was a macabre memorial to that missing girl. I had stumbled into a nightmarish world where the line between the living and the dead had blurred. Desperation clawed at me as I turned to leave the cabin, but a voice whispered in my ear, a voice that sent chills down my spine. "You can never leave," it hissed. I ran, my footsteps echoing through the forest as I searched for an escape, but the woods seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. The doll's curse had me in its grip, and I knew that I, too, would become a lost soul forever trapped in this dark, haunted realm. As I wandered deeper into the abyss of the forest, my screams joined the chorus of countless others, a haunting testament to the horrors hidden within the woods. The forest had claimed me, just as it had claimed the girl who had gone missing so long ago, leaving nothing but a decrepit and terrifying doll behind. It was a stormy night when I decided to embark on this perilous journey. My room was cloaked in shadows, and the only source of illumination was the eerie glow of my computer screen. My heart raced as I navigated the maze of encrypted networks and hidden forums. The pulsating cursor was my guide through this digital labyrinth, leading me deeper into the abyss. The first revelation came in the form of a whisper, a message from an anonymous entity. It spoke of a place where the boundaries of morality had been obliterated, where the darkest desires of humanity found refuge. The words on the screen seemed to resonate with my own forbidden curiosity, drawing me further into the web's entangling threads. As I ventured deeper, the websites became increasingly unsettling. Black marketplaces peddling drugs, weapons, and stolen identities greeted me at every turn. It was a realm where anonymity was a prized possession, and the currency of choice was the untraceable Bitcoin. I felt like a trespasser in a lawless land, where consequences were dealt in the shadows. But it was not the illicit transactions or the underground economies that haunted me most. No, it was the stories, the chilling accounts of real-life horrors that seeped from the dark corners of the web. Tales of kidnappings, human trafficking, and even reports of individuals disappearing without a trace. One night I stumbled upon a forum that sent shivers down my spine. It was a place where users shared their experiences with the supernatural, their encounters with the unexplainable. They spoke of cursed objects, haunted houses, and malevolent entities that defied all reason. Skepticism gave way to fascination as I devoured their stories. One particular post caught my attention. A user claimed to possess a cursed relic, a mirror that had once belonged to a notorious occultist. They offered to send it to anyone brave enough to accept the sinister consequences. My curiosity got the best of me, and I reluctantly provided my address. Weeks passed without incident, until one moonless night, a package arrived at my doorstep. Inside was a tarnished mirror, its frame adorned with intricate symbols and inscriptions. Its surface seemed to ripple with an unnatural darkness, drawing me closer despite my growing unease. I gazed into the mirror and a wave of dread washed over me. My reflection twisted and contorted, taking on a grotesque, nightmarish form. The room around me faded into an abyss, and I felt a malevolent presence watching from the depths of the glass. That night I was tormented by grotesque visions, a shadowy figure that whispered in a language unknown to me, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. My sleep was plagued by night terrors, and I awoke in cold sweats, haunted by the relentless gaze of the cursed mirror. Desperation gripped me as I realized the horror I had unleashed. I reached out to the user who had sent me the mirror, but their account had vanished without a trace. It was as if they had never existed, leaving me alone to face the consequences of my curiosity. I knew then that I had ventured too far into the abyss of the dark web, where the line between reality and nightmare had blurred beyond recognition. The mirror became my tormentor, a portal to a realm of unspeakable horrors. I was trapped in a digital nightmare, and there was no escape. As I write this, I can feel the malevolent presence of the mirror watching, waiting. The darkness within it grows stronger with each passing day, and I fear that I may never break free from its sinister grasp. The dark web, with its hidden terrors, has become my personal hell, a place where curiosity can lead to a fate worse than death. One fateful night, my curiosity led me down a chilling path into the twisted world of Dr. Malum, a physician like no other. It began with a rumor, a tantalizing tidbit shared among the darkest corners of the web. Dr. Malum, they called him, the dark web doctor. His reputation was shrouded in mystery, his services cloaked in sinister whispers. They said he could cure any ailment, heal any wound, but at a price far steeper than mere money. The tale of a woman who had ventured into the abyss of the dark web and emerged with her life forever altered lured me into the depths of the unknown. Her name was Sarah, and her story unfolded like a nightmare. Sarah's life had been plagued by a debilitating illness, a relentless torment that left her bedridden and despairing. Conventional medicine had failed her, and her hope had dwindled to a flickering ember. It was in this state of desperation that she stumbled upon the enigmatic Dr. Malum. Their initial contact was conducted through encrypted messages, a dance of veiled identities in the digital shadows. Dr. Malum promised her a cure, a miracle beyond the reach of mainstream medicine. But the cost he demanded was not one that could be paid with mere currency. He wanted a piece of her soul, a part of her essence. Sarah agreed, her longing for health eclipsing her fear. She received a package in the mail, a small ornate box containing a vial of blood-red liquid. Dr. Malum instructed her to consume it under the light of a blood moon, an act that would bind her fate to his. On the appointed night, Sarah followed the instructions with trembling hands. As the moon's crimson glow bathed her room, she drank the elixir. In that moment, she felt a surge of vitality coursing through her veins, banishing the pain and suffering that had plagued her for years. But the relief was short-lived. The following nights brought visions, horrific, surreal nightmares that invaded her sleep. She saw herself trapped in a nightmarish asylum, her body subjected to gruesome experiments. The visions grew more vivid with each passing night, as if she were reliving the horrors of another's past. Desperate for answers, Sarah reached out to the dark web community. Her story served as a warning, a cautionary tale of the consequences of making deals with the devil. She implored others to avoid the sinister path she had taken. Intrigued and horrified by Sarah's account, I dug deeper into the enigma of Dr. Malum. I uncovered a trail of victims, each with their own dark tale to tell. There were whispers of bodies found mutilated, their organs harvested and sold on the black market. Rumors swirled about those who had sought Dr. Mallam's services, only to vanish without a trace. One evening I received an anonymous message, a warning from a source I could not trace. It urged me to abandon my quest, to turn away from the darkness that had ensnared so many before me. But my curiosity had become an obsession, an irresistible force that drove me deeper into the web's sinister clutches. I contacted Dr. Mallam, my heart pounding with trepidation. His response was swift, a chilling invitation to his digital lair. Through layers of encryption and anonymity, we arranged a meeting in a dimly lit corner of the dark web. The meeting was a descent into madness. Dr. Mallam's face remained hidden, obscured by a grotesque mask adorned with symbols of the occult. He spoke in a voice that echoed with malevolence, a voice that seemed to emanate from the very depths of hell. He offered me a choice, a glimpse into the darkest corners of human suffering, a forbidden knowledge that would come at a price. I could walk away, leave the darkness behind, or I could delve deeper, becoming a pawn in his nightmarish game. I chose the latter, driven by a morbid curiosity that consumed my soul. Dr. Mallam revealed his true purpose, a mad quest to unlock the secrets of pain, to push the boundaries of human endurance to their limits and beyond. His experiments were unspeakable, his methods torturous, and I was to become his chronicler, documenting the horrors he unleashed upon his victims. The descent into madness had begun, and there was no turning back. Dr. Mallam's web of darkness ensnared me, and I became a witness to atrocities that defied all reason. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, and I realized that I had become a participant in a nightmare from which there was no escape. As I write these words, I can feel Dr. Mallam's presence looming, a sinister force that threatens to consume me entirely. The dark web had beckoned me with promises of forbidden knowledge.